What would you do if your ex tried to sell the one thing that symbolized your entire marriage? Most people would get angry, others would ignore it. But when Keanu Reeves discovered his ex-wife was secretly selling their wedding ring, he did something so unexpected, so unbelievably compassionate, that it left everyone, including her, completely stunned. This is the moment that revealed who Keanu really is behind the cameras. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss an update. Now let's dive into what really happened. It began with a headline so shocking that it felt almost unreal. A headline no fan, no journalist, and not even those who followed Keanu Reeves closely could have imagined. A small, quiet auction house in California suddenly posted a listing online. Nothing fancy, nothing dramatic, just a simple announcement. A rare Hollywood wedding ring, once owned by the ex-wife of Keanu Reeves, will be auctioned this week. That one sentence set off a wildfire across the internet. Within minutes, the news spread like lightning. Fans started tagging each other, confused and emotional. Comment sections filled with questions and speculation. Reporters scrambled to verify the story. Entertainment websites rushed to publish articles, searching for the truth behind the sudden sale. Even people close to Keanu, his friends, colleagues, assistants, were caught off guard. No one had heard anything. No one understood why such a personal, emotional item would be put up for auction. Was she struggling financially? Was there a hidden story from their past? Was there a misunderstanding or something deeper? The curiosity quickly turned into debate. Some people criticized her. Some defended her. Others felt there had to be more to the story. But the real shock came later that day, when Keanu Reeves himself learned about the auction. People expected anger. They expected disappointment. They expected him to feel betrayed. But nobody knew that what Keanu did next would become one of the most heartfelt, surprising, and widely discussed celebrity reactions of the entire year. Because this wasn't just a headline for him. This ring represented a chapter of his life that he rarely, if ever, talked about. A chapter filled with private memories, quiet heartbreak, long-buried emotions, and the kind of pain and healing that never truly leaves a person. He had moved on. She had moved on. But the ring, a symbol of their short-lived but meaningful bond, was suddenly being pulled into the public spotlight. And now the world was watching, not to mock, not to judge, but to see what Keanu Reeves, a man known for kindness, calmness, and unfailing grace, would do next. What no one expected was that his reaction would reveal more about his character than any movie, interview, or headline ever had. Before the world could judge her or judge him, there was something everyone needed to remember. Every story has a past. And this past was far more emotional than anyone realized. Years before the world knew Keanu Reeves as Neo, John Wick, or an international icon, he was simply a young man trying to balance love, life, and a blooming career. Before fame, before cameras, before the chaos of Hollywood, he had fallen in love with a woman who understood him when he was still climbing his way up. Their wedding wasn't glamorous. No designer suits. No paparazzi. No million-dollar decorations. It was small, intimate, and painfully real, a moment where two hearts believed they could build a quiet life together. But life isn't always kind. As Keanu's career skyrocketed, pressure began to creep into their world. Long shooting schedules, months spent apart, the emotional weight of unexpected tragedies, all of it slowly chipped away at their marriage. There were no scandals, no betrayal, no explosive fight that ended everything. Just two people who cared for each other, slowly drifting in different directions as the responsibilities of life pulled them apart. Their separation was almost unheard of in Hollywood, gentle, private, and respectful. There were no bitter interviews, no public blame, no ugly headlines. Just silence, the kind of silence that only two people with genuine respect could maintain. The wedding ring remained with her, not as a trophy, not out of resentment, but because it reminded her of a time when life was simpler, softer, and full of hope. For years, she kept it tucked away, a memory more than a possession. But time changes everything. People go through financial struggles, Life throws challenges that no one sees from the outside. Bills pile up, responsibilities grow heavy, and sometimes the past becomes the only thing left to sell. It wasn't easy for her. It wasn't something she wanted to do. It was something she needed to do. So the ring, once a symbol of love and innocence, resurfaced not in a velvet box, but in an auction catalog, listed next to vintage jewelry and old Hollywood collectibles. And that one painful choice would soon ignite a story the whole world would talk about. When Keanu's team approached him with the news, they were nervous. This wasn't just any headline. It was personal, emotional, and rooted deep in a past he rarely spoke about. They expected the worst. Some thought he would feel anger because a private part of his life was suddenly being dragged into public view. Others thought he might feel embarrassment, knowing that the media would twist the story into something dramatic and exaggerated. And a few believed he would choose complete silence, the same way he handles most controversies, by simply walking past them with calm dignity. But Keanu Reeves did none of those things. Instead, he stayed completely calm. He listened quietly, took a breath, and then said the one thing no one expected. "I hope she's okay." That was his first reaction. Not anger, not frustration, not even surprise. Just genuine concern for someone he once cared about deeply. He didn't ask, "Why is she selling it?" He didn't say, "This will create headlines." He didn't blame her, the media, or anyone else. Instead, he asked his team for the contact details of the auction house. But he wasn't planning to stop the sale. He wasn't angry enough to complain. And he wasn't trying to make a public statement. Keanu wanted to do something quieter, something most people wouldn't even consider. He decided to place a private bid on the ring. His team was confused. Why would he want it back? Why reopen an old chapter? But Keanu wasn't doing it for himself. When one of his assistants gently asked him why this mattered, Keanu gave an answer that left everyone frozen. That ring once symbolized something meaningful between two people. "I don't want it turned into a spectacle or a source of shame for her." He wasn't protecting the ring, he was protecting her dignity. He knew that if the story grew bigger, the ring might become a meme, a joke, or a trending hashtag. He didn't want that. Not for her. Not for something that once carried honest emotion. So he placed the bid quietly, anonymously, without attaching his name or asking for special treatment. But the story did not end there. Because the moment the auction house confirmed his bid, Keanu decided there was one more thing he needed to do, something even more unexpected. Something that would define the entire story. Before taking any final steps, Keanu Reeves made a choice that would reveal the depth of his character, a choice that would show the world why he is admired not just as an actor, but as a genuinely compassionate human being. He decided to reach out to his ex-wife directly. It wasn't a call to rehash the past. It wasn't a call meant to reopen old wounds. It wasn't even about the ring itself. It was simply a call to connect, quietly, respectfully, and without judgment. When she answered, the conversation was tentative at first. Years of distance and silence had created a natural awkwardness. But slowly, she began to open up. She explained that life had been difficult. Financial pressures had been mounting, work had been unpredictable, and she had no easy way out. Selling the wedding ring wasn't a decision made in anger, resentment, or malice. It was born out of necessity. She didn't expect sympathy. She didn't expect support. And she certainly didn't expect what Keanu said next. In his calm, gentle voice, he told her, "You don't owe anyone explanations. You don't have to lose something meaningful because of a hard moment." Those words carried no judgment, no criticism, and no resentment. They were simple, sincere, and compassionate, the kind of words that only someone with deep empathy could offer. Then came the part that truly stunned her. Keanu quietly told her that he would purchase the ring himself. not to keep it away from her, not to make a statement, not for headlines, but simply to give it back to her, ensuring it remained a symbol of the respect and significance it had always carried. He didn't want publicity. He didn't want attention. He wanted no recognition for his act. The gesture was entirely private, entirely thoughtful, and entirely human. She was silent at first. Shock gave way to tears. Not tears of anger, not tears of regret, but tears of gratitude and relief. In that moment, the world's idea of celebrity drama evaporated. There was no scandal, no argument, no judgment. There was only kindness, only understanding, only the kind of compassion that lingers quietly long after the cameras stop rolling and the headlines disappear. This phone call, brief, intimate, and profoundly human, was the turning point. It didn't just resolve a small matter of a wedding ring. It demonstrated why Keanu Reeves' reputation for decency and humility isn't a rumor or a myth. It's real, tangible, and deeply inspiring. In the end, the story concluded in a way that no one could have predicted. The wedding ring never made it to auction. Instead, Keanu Reeves quietly purchased it himself and returned it to his ex-wife with a single, heartfelt note. A chapter of our past doesn't need to become anyone's entertainment. I hope life gives you peace, strength, and a fresh start. There was no signature, no public statement, no cameras, no media, no search for recognition or praise. It was an act of pure humanity, simple, quiet, and profoundly meaningful. And that's what made this story so shocking to everyone who heard it. Not the drama, not the potential scandal, but the truth it revealed about a man who rarely seeks the spotlight outside his work. Keanu Reeves is not defined by Hollywood's glitz and glamour. He is not defined by fame, fortune, or headlines. He is defined by his empathy, his forgiveness, his humility, and his unwavering belief that people, even those from his past, deserve dignity and respect. Most celebrities in the same situation would have reacted differently. They might have tried to block the auction. They might have ignored it entirely, letting the story become fodder for media attention. Some might have even publicly criticized the ex-partner to protect their image. But Keanu did something unexpected, something almost unimaginable in Hollywood. He protected someone who had once been an important part of his life, not out of obligation, but out of genuine compassion. This story is a reminder that true kindness doesn't need noise. Respect doesn't require cameras. Closure doesn't always come from distance or detachment. It can come from understanding and empathy, even in situations that the world might view as trivial or scandalous. In a world often obsessed with conflict, outrage, and drama, Keanu Reeves chose grace. He chose to honor the emotional significance of a simple ring. He chose to honor the person who had once shared a meaningful part of his life. And that is why this story resonates far beyond a wedding ring or a Hollywood headline. It resonates because it shows that true human decency, quiet generosity,